LGB. 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 LGB.
They say LGB everywhere. I go LGB. What it means, I don't know. LGB, whatever it is. LGB, come on, help me, please. Please.
Alrighty then.
I like you. LGB.
That's let's go, Brandon, right?
LGB.
This means let's go, Brandon.
No. LGB.
Sounds like let's go, Brandon, I guess.
LGB. All right. Let's go, Brandon.
I am Cornholio.
Chant LGB. Right wing and left wing. LGB. Go, you know the thing. LGB. If you don't sing that back. LGB. And you ain't black. LGB.
Let's go, Brandon.
LGB.
Let's go, Brandon.
LGB.
Let's go, Brandon.
FJB. Let's go, Brandon.
I'm Joe Biden, and I forgot this message.
Greetings, my dear friends, and welcome to another episode of Reading Epic Threads. I'm your host, Patrick Gunnels, joining you from Houston, Texas, this January 31st, 2024 at 1:22 p.m. Central Standard Time. One piece for you today. The brilliant Erik Carlson delves into epistemology, which is really what we're talking about in this info war. What is real? What is true? And it's very, very hard to know. So we're going to get Erik's take on the subject in one article for a relatively short Reading Epic Threads, we assume. And then, of course, don't forget angel paste, rose-infused angel paste. Guys, it has flown off the shelves. Several times I've had to go and adjust the quantity to prevent it from stocking out. So I can tell you, my very favorite people in the world, my Reading Epic Threads friends, we have 33 bottles of rose-infused angel paste. And don't forget, other than just the amazing scent, and one of the bottles is mine, so it would have been 34, but I claimed one immediately when it arrived. It's my favorite scent in the whole wide world. And the essential oil that goes into angel paste is the highest quality imaginable. It's very expensive, and the scent. There's nothing like it in the whole world, in my opinion. And it has antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, calming effects. And of course, angel paste, those of you, I'm sure you know, angel paste consists only of food-grade plant oils. And that's one of the reasons why people are so blown away by the therapeutic effects. I mean, it causes dead skin to tumble right off. It makes age spots. We've had testimonials that age spots have faded. Eczema and psoriasis have been made better. It's being used as a hair conditioner, a shave balm. It's just amazing stuff, guys. So go to angelpaste.com, use promo code Shapiro to pry $1 from my grasping hands. And as far as these Valentine's gift boxes are concerned, one rose, one unscented. And we're going to sell these gift boxes until such time we are no longer confident that they will arrive in time for Valentine's Day. So right now we are very confident. And then in a few days, we're going to start upgrading to priority mail to get it there faster. And then once it's no longer feasible that they're going to arrive before Valentine's Day, we're going to let them stock out, and that will be the end of Rose for 2024. Also, don't forget, we really do want to find out the best possible scent infusion for March. March is the beginning of spring. What essential oils do you think remind you of spring? So I've heard that jasmine is a good such, lemongrass. Just let me know. Let me know on Twitter. Just let me know what you think. pgunnels1 on Twitter. All right, and follow me if you can. Really would appreciate that. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on this video too. All right, today's feature from the brilliant Erik Carlson. From badlands.substack.com, Poisoning the Well. What is real and what is distraction? By Erik Carlson. I miss the good old days when the mainstream media was more straightforward in putting out disinformation. If they didn't want people talking about something, they simply kept it out of the news cycle. If they wanted the public to believe a narrative, they put out disinformation that supported it. This straightforwardness makes it so much easier to differentiate truth from lies. Okay, so maybe the deep state and their media have been pretty cunning for a while now, but it seems their tactics to deceive, confuse, and demoralize are being used more often than ever before. They've really honed their skills. In China and the former Soviet Union, the state-run media were expected to put out disinformation to the people. The people understood the game. You lie to me and I don't believe it. They pretended to believe it. They played along, but they didn't believe anything that was presented to them by the media. In America, and especially in more recent times, the media we assumed is honest and fair, existing solely to report the news, has been shown to be anything but conveyors of the truth. Many now recognize the job of the media isn't to inform, but rather to manipulate. The Church Committee of 1975 exposed that the CIA has been controlling the media since at least the early 1960s. But I would argue that the job of the media has never been to inform, only to control. With the turn of the 20th century, the understanding of psychology and the ability to use it to influence people made mass media more valuable, and the expansion of the media went into overdrive. Vast resources went into radio, movies, and eventually television. More and more newspaper and magazine publications were being created. For a long while, it was easy to control the narrative. One only needed to control Hollywood and publishing, newspapers and magazines. The internet busted things open for a while in the 1990s, until the cabal clawed back control of it through the deep state-controlled search engines and social media sites. But for a little while, at least, the internet was a wild west. Anything goes. In the 1990s, more and more people started to wake up. This was due to having temporary access to an uncontrolled internet and the ability to bypass the media. The government quickly stamped out and made an example of any groups they viewed as a threat to the system. Think Waco and Ruby Ridge. They false flagged us into believing anti-government Americans were domestic terrorists. Think Oklahoma City bombing. It was easy to maintain control of the narratives when less than 1% of the population was awake, with a good understanding of what is true, what is lies, and how the narratives are controlled. The techniques of maintaining control when such a small percentage are awake is easy. Push fake news to the masses and keep the awake from being heard. When Trump became POTUS and regularly referred to the media as fake news, and especially when the Q team hit the scene in late 2017, everything changed. The 1% quickly became 5%, and then 10, and then 15. I don't know the percentage of people adequately awake today, but certainly anyone reading this qualifies. Whatever the percentage of people necessary to hit critical mass, where there is no stopping what is coming, we are probably already there. With the clock already started, new techniques are needed and are being used to slow the spread, to delay the inevitable mass awakening. What control techniques are needed and used now? Controlled opposition. I think most reading this have a pretty good idea of what controlled opposition is. I would define it as creating and promoting an opposition to the narrative while making sure that that opposition is controlled by the same people who create and control the narratives that you're opposing. Controlled opposition may put out 80% truth while pushing 20% lies. Someone or some news source may put out 80% truth while keeping quiet about the 20% they're paid not to talk about. They may seem to oppose the narrative, but at a future date, they might be activated to turn on the people who trust them. Fox News and Alex Jones may be examples of controlled opposition. I'm actually starting to wonder if Alex Jones's constant flip-flopping is part of the plan. I'm not saying this is the case. Just that I'm more open to the idea that there might be more to him than just being the controlled opposition we accuse him of being. In a world of agents, double agents, and triple agents, maybe he is a triple agent, pretending to be controlled opposition. Who knows for sure? As a group, I feel we are more willing to believe that a black hat can cut a deal and become a gray hat working with the white hats, but we are less likely to accept a controlled opposition influencer could have had their strings cut along the way, or that their role is more complex than our understanding allows. I believe there are three types of people who are the recipients of the narratives used to control the world: the easy to manipulate, the hard to manipulate, and the impossible to manipulate. The techniques used to control the easy to manipulate are expensive but simple. You simply bombard them with disinformation. You control the narrative by controlling 95% of the media. The easy to manipulate will believe what they think the majority believes, and they are deathly afraid of standing out in the crowd. The whack-a-mole game causes PTSD for these people. I would argue that these easy to manipulate people are the majority in America. The good news is they will turn with the tide. If they believe that a majority of Americans supported Trump, they'll support Trump. The bad news is, according to Q, 4 to 6% of them are permanently broken through mind control. Their circuit boards are fried and they are incapable of coming around. The best we can hope for with them is that they don't procreate. The difficult to manipulate require more sophisticated techniques of control, and many times they aren't completely controlled, but rather kept off balance through techniques like controlled opposition. The difficult to control believe disinformation that might validate what they already believe. It causes them to not know who or what to trust. They're sent down endless rabbit holes, not only wasting their time, distracting them, but ruining their credibility and sending them off course in their pursuit of the truth. For the impossible to control, the deep state doesn't try to convince them of anything. They simply don't allow their voices to be heard. These people are villainized and made to seem crazy. They aren't asked to appear on media, and their social media accounts are shadow banned or banned altogether. This is a very small percentage of the US population. These are the people a hypnotist doesn't bring up on stage, understanding they can't be put under, no matter how hard they try. Poisoning the well. A mental image of this concept would be someone wandering the desert, dehydrated, lost, and close to death. Finally, they discover a well and drink from it while unknown to them. The well is poisoned, making the drinker's condition even worse. Now, replace water with truth. Poisoning the well can and does take place with small as well as large-scale movements or groups. On a large scale, the US has been infiltrated by communists for the past 100 years. Because the US is too powerful to be defeated from the outside, the tactic has been to eat away at it, like cancer, from the inside. On a smaller scale, the truth movement has been attacked the same way. Traitors have been implanted into groups, spreading disinformation or preparing to at a future time. Truth seekers may hear a story that aligns with their beliefs, and they accept the story as the truth without vetting it. They either trust a traitor disguised as one of them, or they hear a story they want to believe because that story validates what they already believe. I should point out that just as black hats have flipped to become gray hats, people who once worked with the deep state and are now working against them, there are people within the truth community who were once sincere and have since sold out, now being paid to misinform and confuse the truth community. 90% of truth seekers may quickly recognize a specific traitor for what they are and stop following them or listening to them, but some truth seekers continue on, believing their lies. When this occurs enough times with enough traitors, the truth community becomes fractured and off balance, which is the best the deep state cabal can hope for in many cases. While some become confused, others become black-pilled. They become demoralized and lose hope. They give up. Anyone who has been paying attention at all in 2024 realizes that 2024 has been off the hook crazy. One story after another is being dropped. Boom, boom, boom. It's like someone running a marathon who has started off at a sprinter's pace. How long can it last? Ghislaine Maxwell's court documents are being made public. People are being connected to Epstein. There are airstrikes in Yemen. The defense secretary went MIA for multiple days. A tunnel was discovered under a synagogue. Billionaires are building bunkers. And there were stories of aliens at a mall in Miami, not to mention the exposure of the fraud behind the legal attacks on Trump. #Fattygate. By the way, notice that we were getting new Epstein list information daily. Then all of a sudden, it stopped so we could focus on the Iowa caucus. The narrative is currently being seeded by both sides. Big stories go backstage so we can focus on something else for a while. Then the big story reappears on the stage when the change is deemed necessary. I'm not telling people what to believe or what not to believe, but I am asking people to use discernment, to look at every story from different angles and give it 48 hours before having an opinion and sharing it. Understand that both sides are trying to control the narrative. One side is trying to control the narrative through disinformation, and the other through the truth. But even the side trying to control the narrative through the truth is selectively putting the truth out at opportune times so that it has the maximum effect. In other words, the truth isn't coming out randomly. Poisoning the well can include putting out fake stories mixed in with all the real stories with the intention of later debunking the fake one. Once the fake story is debunked, the idea is pushed. If this is fake, then how can you trust the rest? This technique can easily be seen in the Epstein list being released. If fake news comes out about someone being connected to Epstein who is later proven innocent, all the accusations against people on the list come into question. What about the stories of billionaires building bunkers? Who's sharing this with us? Mainstream media. Why are they sharing this with us? If you don't trust mainstream media, at least you have to question why they would share this information with us and not hide it instead. What is the narrative being pushed? By letting us know billionaires are building bunkers, the media want us to believe the billionaires are either afraid of an upcoming collapse of America or that they believe Americans are going to pick up pitchforks and come after them for the damage they have done to society. It's hard to believe it's a coincidence that an Obama-produced movie about a cyber attack leading to a civil war collapse of America came out at the exact same time. Why are they letting us know this? What about the Miami Mall alien invasion? Has our discernment turned into overactive suspicion? We tend, rightly, to believe that when there's smoke, there's fire. But what happens when the deep state sets up a smoke machine? The official story given to us about the Miami Mall incident was that 4 teens were arrested for getting into a stick fight. The video that went viral shows, I would assume, 50 to 100 police cars at the scene. We see this and think there is no way that many cops would show up for a stick fight. There must be something more to the situation. They must be hiding something. Then the story of aliens being in the mall comes out, and some assume that must be the case. But what if the deep state ordered all these cops to show up to create a story to distract people, to distract them away from the Epstein information being released or anything else for that matter, while trying to make truth seekers seem crazy? I have no idea why so many cops showed up at the scene, but it is at least a possibility that their massive presence was designed to distract us. By the way, did you happen to notice? No ambulances or fire trucks were at the scene, just cops. Doesn't make it look quite as believable. Oops. How about the synagogue tunnel in Brooklyn? Orthodox Jews seemed to be rioting as the police pulled out a mattress and attempted to seal the tunnel off. Is it a coincidence that this story came out the same time Epstein and child trafficking and child rape are in the news? It could be coincidence. It could be completely legit that these people were caught trafficking and abusing children, but it also could be the poisoning of the well. If it comes out that the tunnel was built to allow Orthodox Jews to attend the synagogue while everything was locked down during COVID and not for the trafficking of children, all of a sudden, the universal child trafficking narrative takes a hit. If the child trafficking accusations toward the Brooklyn synagogue turn out to be baseless, it could put doubt in some people's minds about the Epstein list and its legitimacy. But then again, what if this synagogue story is an attempt to paint child trafficking as a Jewish thing rather than an elite cabal thing, deflecting away from non-Jewish child traffickers? It's becoming more and more apparent that Epstein and Maxwell were connected to government intelligence agencies like Mossad, CIA, MI6, and maybe each of their governments in general. Are Orthodox Jews being thrown under the bus with the Brooklyn synagogue story to cover up for the elites? Mind you, we cannot dissect every piece of information we take in, but we do need to be cautious. We need to be careful of who we trust. We have to question why the mainstream media, who have lied to us about everything, suddenly lets us know something we think they wouldn't want us to know. Maybe it's a trap. And then there's the confirmation bias fallacy. People display this bias when they select information that supports their views, ignoring contrary information, or when they interpret ambiguous evidence as supporting their existing attitudes. The effect is strongest for desired outcomes, for emotionally charged issues, and for deeply entrenched beliefs. As human beings, we seek out information that confirms our beliefs. In many cases, we reject information that goes against our beliefs, which is why so many people are able to stay asleep when so much information proves the deep state's narratives are false. Their confirmation bias keeps them asleep, while our confirmation bias can cause us to be led astray. We need to move forward with caution, maintaining our balance, knowing there are people trying to knock us off balance. Discernment is like a muscle. The more you use it, the bigger and stronger it gets. But our discernment can be overtrained. And sometimes we need to take a day or two off from the information cycle to let it recover. When it comes to taking in information, it's important to ask 5 questions. Who is telling me the information? What media source am I hearing it on? Why am I hearing it? Who benefits or is hurt from me believing this information? And does the information support my biases? Does it support confirmation bias? Mind you, the information that supports your biases doesn't necessarily make it wrong. It just means you need to consider that when you process the information. Let's consider a hypothetical Truth Social post by Trump mentioning fraud in the 2020 election. Who is telling me the information? Trump, whom I find trustworthy. Where am I hearing it? Truth Social, which Trump owns and is not a part of the corrupt media and social media system. Why am I hearing it? People need to understand the election system is rigged. Whom does the information hurt? The deep state. Does it support my confirmation bias? Yes. But if I'm seeking the truth diligently, from reliable people using reliable sources, most information I hear will support my confirmation bias. In other words, in this situation, it's not a bad thing. Now, let's look at a scenario where I hear from Rachel Maddow on MSNBC that Trump will try to steal the 2024 election. Every red flag goes up, and it doesn't support my confirmation bias. This is easy to spot as deep state agenda-driven disinformation. Neither of the previous two examples requires me to put much effort in deciding what is the truth and what is disinformation. What if I hear from Anderson Cooper on CNN that more and more billionaires are building bunkers? Trustworthy person? No. Trustworthy site? No. Why am I hearing this? They are influencing us to believe things are going to get crazy. Whom does the information hurt? It's tough to say. It makes the billionaires seem like they're having someone or something to hide or escape from, but it also sets the stage for a future narrative of a civil war, causing everyone to panic. Does it support my confirmation bias? Yes. The inconsistencies with the message and the messenger, while supporting my bias, leads me to believe this information is information I need to take my time with. I need to look at it from multiple angles before determining what I should make of it. As of now, I am holding the Miami Mall, the Brooklyn Synagogue, and the billionaire bunker stories in an open hand. I don't know what to make of them. There are inconsistencies with who is giving us this information and who the information seems to hurt. In 2024, information will come at us fast and furious. The lies will be exposed at an accelerated rate. The truth will also come out at a record pace. A setting like this allows for the well to be poisoned, to cause truth seekers to veer off course. Recently, the narrative came out that Vivek Ramaswamy is a traitor and turning on Trump. Okay, that's easy enough to believe. Trump recently said Vivek isn't MAGA. Vivek is a sketchy past, including a big pharma past. Even bigger evidence is the assertion that Vivek would not be running against Trump if he wasn't a traitor. With this framing, everyone who is running against Trump is a traitor to the country, including RFK Jr., unless certain people are playing their parts in a scripted movie. In a case where Vivek is a traitor, consider the following. In 2016 and in 2020, Trump won landslide election victories. The second was stolen from him, or rather, he allowed it to be stolen to avoid a civil war. In the process of Trump winning the elections, the deep state learned what Americans want in its leader. If you can't defeat Trump head to head, why not create a candidate that says all the same things Trump believes? This candidate would represent all the things that the people love about Trump with less baggage, while still being controlled by the deep state cabal. In a case against Vivek being deep state, and rather that he is playing a part, why did Trump wait until the day before the Iowa caucuses to speak up against Vivek? He could have said something 6 to 12 months ago, so why didn't he? There are two possible answers to this question. Either Vivek is a willing or an unwilling participant in Trump's plan. The same could be said about DeSantis and RFK Jr. Trump is either using them willingly or unwillingly to take down the deep state. The fact that Vivek dropped out of the race after the first election in the Iowa caucus and gave his full support to Trump creates a heavy lean toward Vivek having been working with Trump the whole time, especially after Trump's kind words following Vivek dropping out. I've been hearing people who have been calling Vivek a snake, and they feel validated by Trump and Vivek's one-day feud. Then the next day, Vivek dropped out of the race, gave his full support to Trump, and Trump said he had big plans in working together with Vivek after this happened. The same people who called Vivek a snake said, look, did you see that? Trump gave Vivek a weird look. Trump doesn't trust him. Some people seem to be looking only to validate themselves, which is total confirmation bias. I'm not saying this makes them bad people or even wrong, only that they should recognize that they may be trying to validate themselves rather than just taking in all the information available to them. I've been saying for months that I think Vivek and Trump are working together. When the one-day feud occurred, I thought maybe I was wrong. Then they made up. Now I'm back to believing what I believed all along. When the narrative changed, I didn't try to make it fit my existing bias. I was willing to admit I might have been wrong, which it now looks like I probably wasn't. By the way, the feud fell well within the 48-hour rule. Yet another example of waiting before you have a definitive opinion on anything. We still don't know the truth about Trump and Vivek, nor does it matter. Trump is saying, vote for Trump. That's all that really matters at this point. The other day, I heard a truth influencer say, we can't trust Tucker Carlson because he's a Satanist. He wears a red string Kabbalah bracelet, after all. After 5 minutes of looking into this, I discovered Tucker said his daughter made him the bracelet, and that is why he wore it. It's like some people who are supposed to be on our side come in guns blazing on everything. Shoot first, ask questions later, or don't ask questions at all. Let's forget the fact that Carlson is chummy with Trump. He supports Trump publicly. He was fired by the mainstream media. He has done more than anyone the past couple of years to expose the deep state to the mass public. It's no wonder many of the left believe everyone on the right is crazy. If Tucker is trying to derail Trump, he's doing a really bad job of it. He's exposing the deep state and promoting Trump. We aren't voting for Tucker to run the country anyway. If he suddenly turned on Trump, then we would stop listening to him. In the world of espionage, 5G warfare, and 5D chess, things aren't always what they appear to be. In the world of espionage, there are agents, double agents, and even triple agents. If we were able to easily distinguish the double agents from the triple agents, the agencies aren't doing very good jobs. Some of the agents are pretty easy to distinguish. For example, Trump is on the side of the patriots, and someone like George Soros is obviously on the side of the deep state. But it's not that easy with many of the players. Just because someone says something bad about Trump or had a different opinion in the past doesn't automatically make them deep state. And just because somebody says something good about Trump, it doesn't make them a patriot. Some people are playing roles given to them by either side. What is important is understanding that Trump being elected POTUS again is the only path to getting America back. Any path or alternative that leads to someone other than Trump being elected POTUS in November is a deep state path. We don't need to understand who the double and triple agents are. It's a lot simpler than we're making it. Vote for Trump. Convince others to vote for Trump. That's it. Disconnect from anyone or anything who tells you otherwise. Anyone who has lived through 3 years of the Biden regime and is still unable to have an open-minded discussion, they're far too likely, far too gone. Have discussions with people who are willing to listen, but don't waste your time or energy on the others. On this point, fairly recently, I had a conversation with a morbidly obese 70-year-old person I care about. Her knees are so bad now she can barely walk. Her doctor told her she needs to lose 100 pounds for her knees to get better. She said to the doctor, I'm 70 years old and I'm 100 pounds overweight. Do you really think that after all these years, I'm going to be able to change enough to lose and keep off 100 pounds? This response is refreshingly honest. Know thyself. How many times have we tried to convince someone that Trump is the greatest president who ever lived and that everyone who opposes him is deep state? Maybe we don't need liberals or Trump haters to lose the proverbial 100 pounds. Maybe we should start off by getting them to acknowledge that things are, in fact, worse since Biden took office. Do we really need to convince them that the 2020 election was stolen? How about convincing them the economy would likely be better with Trump in office, or that there would likely be fewer military conflicts in the world in that eventuality. Do we need to completely turn someone from being a liberal to a MAGA hat wearing patriot who is a flashing Trump 2024 sign on their front yard? It's all right for them not to adore Trump. As a Trump vote to better the country, even if they don't like the man, should be enough. Even a non-vote should be enough. We don't need everyone to love Trump to retake America. We just need Trump in office to start the process. We need to fix the election system if it hasn't been adequately fixed already. Let's convince others to vote for Trump or to abstain from voting for Biden for our country's health. Loving Trump can come later. And that is my friend Erik Carlson. That is from badlands.substack.com. You can also find him at erikc, ERIKC.substack.com. And just subscribe for money at his Substack. So those of you who don't know, he started off just by sending me emails. And his emails were friggin' awesome. And then I saw him on Twitter, I think, possibly Truth Social. I noticed that his name was Erik Carlson. I said, "Are you the Erik Carlson who sends me all those badass emails?" And yes, it was. Whenever he would send me an email, I would just say, well, obviously I'm going to read this one out loud. And always, every time, no exceptions. He's great. So if you could support his work at erikc.substack.com, you can also support the work of Badlands Media by doing a subscription there for money, badlands.substack.com. That's the overarching umbrella that keeps everything going here. So definitely check that out as well. You can support this show, of course, by buying your sweetheart a Valentine's Day gift box from Angel Paste. Angel Paste gift boxes contain one rose infused, which is amazing stuff. Let me just give you a quick rundown on the rose, on why the rose thing is so good. I'm going to take you to the Angel Paste website, which is something that some of you may not have already done. So this is a great place. You go shop, the story, testimonials, blog. The testimonials are amazing. Make sure to click on that. And then shop, click over here on rose. And then the gift set, what it says is, all right, when Angel Paste Miracle Cream is enriched with organic rose essential oil, it becomes a supercharged way to promote a clear and luminous complexion due to its anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. Contrary to popular belief, it isn't good to dry out oily skin with harsh chemicals because that signals the skin to overproduce sebum, which causes more acne. Rose essential oil can help balance oil production, making it the perfect acne-fighting ingredient, while Angel Paste Miracle Cream gives the skin that radiant, light-reflecting glow. Rose essential oil has also been shown to be anti-aging, wound healing, and mood-enhancing, which makes it a perfect gift for your honey on Valentine's Day. Get your gift set, 2 bottles, 8 ounces of Angel Paste Miracle Cream Rose, and 8 ounces of the original unscented in a gorgeous white box, elegantly wrapped in red tissue paper and a red satin ribbon. Supplies are limited. Okay, so definitely check that out. We're going to keep selling as many as we can until we're pretty sure that it's not going to arrive in time for Valentine's Day. And then when we feel like that, so think in terms of like the first week of February, we're going to put a halt to that. And that'll be the end of Rose, the Rose gift boxes. So go to www.angelpaste.com. Use promo code Shapiro to pry $1 from my grasping hands. And if your purchase exceeds $179 in value, you get free shipping. Angel Paste, your skin will drink it up. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Share this video if you can. Hit the thumbs up button if you can. Really helps me when you do that. Let us pray. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.